history on the reason why many black women and women of color do not trust white women. It's going to be jarring at first, and I don't play to people's feelings or anything like that, so a lot of things I say you may not feel is very nice, and I'm a privilege tester, that's what I call myself. So, just, try to see through all of the things that you don't like hearing and how it makes you uncomfortable, and just ride with me, alright? Also, I tell people all the time, I speak 2 languages. I speak standard English. My mother made sure I could do that so that I could survive in this world. And I speak Ebonics, and I code switch a lot. So if I say something that you don't understand, ask me later. I'll explain to you what me and my cousins talk like. All right, so my presentation, as you can see, we're going to talk about the disconnect between black women and white women. And I have titled it, I Don't Trust White Women, because as a whole, generally, I don't. And I have reasons for, and we're going to go through that, okay? Historically, the divide honestly began with slavery. It began that white women were slaveholders also. A lot of times when we talk about it, do I need to come this way? You got me? We good? Okay. A lot of times when we talk, we don't mention the white women that actually owned slaves. We talk about how the men would rape. We talk about how the men would sell. We talk about how they would, do a lot of things, but we don't talk about the white women. We see a lot of slave narratives, though, by black women and enslaved women that say that the white women themselves that were slaveholders would beat them for getting raped by masters. And a lot of people try to leave that out. We erase white women out of that because a lot of times throughout history, here we go. This is why I'm supposed to be on that. A lot of time throughout history, we talk about how white women are this fragile thing. And that with race, white men take care of white women. It's just a thing. It's a thing that happens. It's societal. White women are this delicate flower. If you beat a white woman up, when you're a black girl, you lose all credibility, things like that. We don't want that. That's not true at all. Y'all can be some, cutthroat. All right, so what you see here is a depiction. This is a model called Dasha Zukava. She's seated on a mannequin that's supposed to be a black woman. And what it is a literal representation of white women being on the backs and using black women as their foundation to grow. Just take it in. It's jarring, but it's a thing. People have bought these chairs before with no issue. You see how the black woman herself is dressed in hardly anything, but you have the white woman on top of her that is dressed as if she's the most fragile and beautiful thing. This is a literal representation of something that happens in society. It's a hold on white supremacy. All right. Oh, that's just a... Oh, there we go. So, let's talk about white feminism. Suffragettes. At the beginning, with white feminists, when they wanted to get their voting rights, they used black women who were actually helping them. We have women like Ida B. Wells, Frances Harper, Mary Ann Shadd Cary. All of these women were actually disregarded when it came to white women wanting to get their rights to vote. They were erased from the narrative. The only people who really brought them along were other black people. White feminists that we actually herald a lot, Susan B. Anthony, had no problem saying that she'd rather cut off her right arm before she would get the vote for a Negro. But let's be really clear that the Negro at this time were men. Black women, we didn't exist at that time. Elizabeth Cady Stanton, one of her very best friends, she said she wouldn't trust a black man. She was scared that he was going to be worse off than white men, which feeds into the narrative that black men are dangerous or they're predators, which is a lie. But that's what it is. That's what she said. These women are heralded today, even. Susan B. Anthony, after a bunch of people went out and voted for Hillary Clinton in the last election, They went and put I voted stance on Susan B. Anthony's grave. We still celebrate her, even though we know that she threw black women that marched with her and black men under the bus. All the women are white and all the blacks are men. This is a true statement that a lot of times that black women get erased out of the existence of history, and the only people that seem to support them are other black women. Now we'll talk about the rise of black feminism. There were a lot of issues that happened in order for black women to decide that they needed their own movement. Now, it was called divisive for a very long time, but the first we have is the Combahee River Collective statement. The Combahee River Collective was a group of black feminist lesbians, which I am looking for the paper so that I could read a statement from y'all from them, because, yeah. All right, so the River Collective basically said white feminists are being racist in these spaces, and they are saying that there's nothing that we need to do about it because it's on white women to do white women's work and to take care of that racism. But we're going to be vocal and we're going to tell them that this is a problem. But we fight for the rights of everyone. See, what happens is, a lot of times with all of the terms that are coined by black women in the history of black feminism and womanism, we take in race, sex, and class. We don't just say black women need these rights. We say black poor women. We say black women that can't have children. We say other women of color. We say if white women had higher rates of domestic violence than black women, then we would support them also. Also, we have the term womanism by Alice Walker that came about in 1983. And I have a really cute thing that I read at an event that I had recently called Womanhood in Lavender, which censored black women and all of our magical glory. So, basically from Womanish, it says, from the black folk expression of mother to female children, you act in womanish. An example, like a woman, usually referring to outrageous, audacious, courageous, or willful behavior. Wanting to know more and in greater depth than is considered good for one. Interested in grown-up things, acting grown-up, being grown-up, interchangeable with another black folk expression, you trying to be grown. Responsible, in charge, and serious. Also, a womanist is a woman who loves other women, sexually or non-sexually, appreciates and prefers women's culture, women's emotional flexibility, and women's strength. Sometimes loves individual men, sexually and or non-sexually, committed to survival and wholeness of entire people, male and female. She's not a separatist, except periodically for her own health. Traditionally, a universalist, as in, Mama, why are we brown, pink, and yellow and our cousins are white, beige, and black? The answer? You know the colored race is just like a flower garden with every color flower represented. Traditionally capable, as in, Mama, I'm walking to Canada and I'm taking you and a bunch of other slaves with me. The reply would be, it wouldn't be the first time. Then we have intersectionality by Kimberly Crenshaw. The term intersectionality has actually been co-opted a lot, and being coined by a black woman, she hasn't been getting the due respect she should be for her being the root of intersectionality. Intersectionality is a buzzword at this point because it's thrown around so much but nobody backs it up. All of these things right here are connected in a way by saying that they take care of everyone instead of leaving people out and only deciding that parts of their feminism is the parts that they will support. So currently, where does the distrust come from? Because we're not just focused on what happened during slavery. We're not just focused on what happening during the 60s and the 70s. Currently, we have white women who made up 52% of the votes to vote for Trump. White men, 63%. As you see, this activist, Miss Angela, She was at the Women's March and she said white women voted for Trump. As a reminder, white women did vote for Trump. Now there's a lot of times that we have white women who say, well, I wasn't one of those 52% who voted for Trump. But we have to take into account that if 52% of you voted for Trump, then that means that it had to be a sister or a cousin or an auntie or a grandma or somebody that you could have talked to and got through to, instead of deciding that, you know, I'm just not all white women, because that's not helpful at all. So, I also offer suggestions on what you can do better. The first thing is, you can do white folks' work, which is what you're doing because you're at Race and Reconciliation, so that's good. Kudos to y'all. You can educate your fellow skin folk. Instead of me being the person who has to bend over backwards and educate other white people about the struggles that black women go through, you can take this information that I'm giving to you. You can Google plenty of things that are written already by black women about the struggles of black women, and you can take it back out to your people. Not centering your feelings when it comes to marginalized people's humanity. One of the biggest things about it is that sometimes when we come out, you might make a mistake and you might say a word that you shouldn't have and you didn't know it. Instead of making a big show of your apology, which is me having to console you for your privilege, just say, that's my bad, I'ma do better, and keep it moving, because I know you're gonna do better next time, right? Okay, so then you wanna make sure that you're centering marginalized people's voices instead of speaking over them. I have a perfect example of this, y'all, that just happened yesterday. So let me tell you. There was a gentleman in a group where we're supposed to be progressive politics, right? So me, Samantha, we just go in, we're trying to tell these people, you know, this is a thing, white fragility is a thing, white privilege is a thing, y'all need to, you know, just deal with it, do better, whatever. This gentleman decided to say, y'all are not good advocates for your cause. And I said, can't no white man speak for me? Who's the best advocate for my cause of my humanity? Because a lot of times when we're talking about things like this, you're talking about life and death for black people. You're not talking about, this is just politics and we can laugh about it and then move on with our lives. We're talking about the food that goes into my son's mouths. We're talking about me being able to actually get my master's degree from UWF and go out and help other black people that need the type of services that I can offer. This isn't just something that we just discuss online and then it's over with. This is something that I carry with me day to day. I'm the best advocate for my position. You can't speak over me. And not performing allyship. Now let's go back real quick. Okay. I'm not saying that they actually did it, but those 3 women in the back at this march that are just playing on their phones, taking selfies and everything else, that's performance allyship. That's not actually being there and being in the moment and actually holding up your voices and speaking about what it is that you're mad about. This is just having fun. But if you see, in conjunction with this, if you saw a Black Lives Matter protest sign right there, you wouldn't see none of that. You would see people getting sprayed down by the police. But at the Women's March, you had white women going up to police and hugging them, in the midst of black women who have been on the front lines asking for their humanity and for us to stop killing black men and women and children. All right, another thing, we're going to recognize that we are not colorblind. By saying that you're colorblind, you're saying that you erase all the things that make up this black woman right here. That leaves nothing. All of my experiences come from being black and a woman. You erase my entire existence by just saying we're all one people, because that's not how society sees us. And then the other one is do not tone police or correct women of color for their delivery. Perfect example. If I'm angry about my humanity being questioned, and I say, fuck you, fuck them, and the clique they claim, then you have to understand that there is a reason why. It's because I'm tired. I'm tired of having to continually ask people to just respect my existence, to just help me. If you're trying to say that you're going to help me, then just help me. Don't sit here and say, even though those people abuse you, you should talk to them nicer, because that's not a thing. We've never been able to have change with just being nice to people. That's not a thing. It never will be. And the last thing, stay in your lane. It's easy. So right here, and this literally just happened, y'all, I promise you, I do not make this stuff up. Just yesterday, this white woman called Van Jones a house nigga. In what place has that ever been okay? That's not a term that she should ever use. You do not get a black card just because you're doing progressive work. If you're going to do progressive work, you stick to your lane and you do white folks' work, as I said it right up there. All right? That's it. We good.